Okay, so in the early recordings, we went through the introduction. So if you missed that video, please go back and look at that video. I went through and I worked on a hook for you. We talked about some background information and then your thesis statement. What I want you to do now is for each paragraph, we're going to focus on different obstacles. So the first obstacle I want you to focus on is the language issue. So we have a language barrier. One of the obstacles that immigrants face coming to America is problems with the language. When we transition into our first body paragraph, we need to start with a topic sentence. So you can start simply with the first obstacle faced by immigrants is difficulty with the language. All right, so this is our topic sentence that introduces our problem, our obstacle. So again, we are doing the P part of our PEARL. It's introducing the topic sentence and addressing the thesis and the prompt. As we move down, we want to bring in text evidence. We know that two of our primary sources, both My Favorite Chaperone and A Place to Call Home, both focus on language issues. So you want to make sure that you take from one of those pieces. I'm going to pull from My Favorite Chaperone, and I'm going to use yes, I must always do this for my parents at the store, at the doctor, things like that. And remember, this is just a graphic organizer. This is just an essay plan. So when we take this quote and we incorporate it into our actual essay, we are going to have to introduce the quote. So according to My Favorite Chaperone by Okamoto, or as Maya states in the short story, My Favorite Chaperone, remember, we need to tell where we got this information from. We're pulling out text evidence and we're putting it in our organizer, but remember, when we write our paper, we need that introduction of this citation. All right, so just as a little side note to me to remember to put it in, I want to say where I got it from. My Favorite Chaperone. We'll put that, oops, that's not where I want it. I want it here. So we're going to write My Favorite Chaperone. And then I'm just going to put the author's name. I'm just going to put her last name, Okamoto. And this is going to remind me that I need to incorporate that into my sentence structure. Remember, you can take any citation you want that talks about a language issue. This is where Maya is going to have to translate when Nurjan gets in trouble, and she talks about how her parents don't speak very much English. There are other instances in My Favorite Chaperone, as well as A Place to Call Home, that you can incorporate a citation. When we write our explanation, we don't simply want to put, this shows how there is a language issue. We know that already. So this quote tells the audience that Maya's parents are not comfortable with the English language and often need to rely on their daughter for help. Remember, we are looking for two sentences. So follow that up with one more sentence. This quote tells the audience that Maya's parents are not comfortable with the English language and often need to rely on their daughter for help. Give me one more sentence. When we do our analysis, we are focusing on explaining that citation and how it helps develop the topic sentence. Another piece of evidence that I chose was from A Place to Call Home. Remember, we want to transition also, as stated in A Place to Call Home. About language issues. Now I'm going to incorporate my quote. This is a barrier, and immigrants know it. All right, so here I showed you exactly how to incorporate a citation. Oops. Exactly how to incorporate a citation. I'm doing the lead-in. Over here, I didn't. I just reminded myself that I had to put it in my writing. Here I actually did it as part of my text evidence. When we do a repeat, we need text evidence and analysis. So please remember that when you do the analysis part, you are focusing on why this is important. How does this explain the prompt? And then we're going to link it back. The next thing that I want you to focus on in paragraph 3, which is our second body paragraph, is going to be financial. What are the financial issues that are faced? As we continue on, we know that both in My Favorite Chaperone and A Place to Call Home, and even a little bit from the last thing that we read, What to Bring, we can see that there is financial issue. Often the immigrants come to America with no money, with nothing, and they know that the financial burden becomes very heavy for them. All right, so what we want to do here is in our topic sentence, we want to introduce that problem. The second obstacle that many immigrants face is difficulty with financial, with financial stability or finances. So this is going to be our topic sentence. This is reason number 2 that they have problems in America. Financial difficulty talked about again in all 3. So please pick text evidence that supports finances. All right, so with the text evidence that I'm going to bring in here, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take something from A Place to Call Home. And the citation that I'm going to use is the biggest concern for immigrants, the economy, and their own financial well-being. I'm going to make myself a note that this is from A Place to Call Home. And this actually has 2 authors because it is a research study, and our authors are Beidel and Rochkind. So remember, when you are incorporating this into your essay, it needs to be introduced, as stated, according to the research studies, something that transitions into this text evidence. Your analysis, again, we are looking for 2 well-developed sentences that explain why this is important. For your repeat, bring in 1 more piece of text evidence and analyze it with 2 sentences. The third reason that I would like you to use is possessions. We're looking at how the majority of people who come to this country need to leave things behind. They cannot bring everything with them. Some of them don't have anything to bring. So the essence of what do they bring with us? What do they bring with them? What do they choose is important? What is important to them? What is a legal document that they need? So here we're going to transition into our last topic sentence. Lastly, an obstacle faced by many immigrants is deciding what, maybe I can spell, deciding, yeah, what possessions they need to bring. When we read through what to bring in the close reader, we see that some things are very sentimental, some things are used for legality. So again, what things do they bring? Bring text evidence in here, analyze, and then repeat. Please remember that as you're writing your essay, we are doing a purl in all 3 body paragraphs, which means that our body paragraphs, when we write our essay, need to be at least 8 sentences long. When we bring in direct evidence, we are putting quotation marks around that evidence. We are saying where we got that information from. Please make sure that we are using proper transitions and sentence stems. As we move down to our conclusion, we are taking our introduction and we are flipping it upside down. So when we restate our thesis, we do not want to simply pull out our thesis statement and plug it back in. We will transition so as one can see in conclusion, in summary, transition and restate that thesis. You want to say the same thing using different words. Summarize your paragraphs. Tell the reader, tell the audience, again, what are some of the obstacles that they see? Talk about financial, language barriers, possessions. And a closing sentence. Closing sentence, you're going to end with a thought-provoking statement or a call to action. What can we as a society do to help immigrants assimilate better to the United States? Or thought-provoking, again, how would you feel if you had to leave everything behind? Please use this graphic organizer. Please complete it. It is due on Friday. It is worth 25 points. If you do the graphic organizer correctly, you should have no problem starting your essay tomorrow. We will start the essay tomorrow and finish it on Friday. Both the essay in its completion and the graphic organizer is due on Friday. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please do not hesitate to contact me.